Hello everyone, this is Club 10M Plus's exciting new podcast that's here for you. We are all about stories, new developments and learning about individuals. Our hope is that you will join us every week to hear about our distinguished guests. We hope to inspire you, bring you laughter and make you reflect. Our guests come from all walks of life and primarily they want to share their stories. Not sure about you, but I love a good story. So Club 10M Plus have devoted their time to creating these podcasts, to sharing great ideas and stories and much more. So tune in every week to make sure that you don't miss out. It could be you next week. Want to know more? We want to hear your stories. So sign up and be our next guest. Hello, Dr. Pauline Crawford, no stranger to us here at the podcast. It's a delight to have you back, Pauline. And I think sort of taking on from when we last spoke about harmony, about equality, but more importantly, it's all goodbye equality. We don't want to be talking that language anymore. We want to kind of move it on to where we think now is the direction we should be in. So we had one very poignant question for our guests this month, and that is, who are we? And Pauline, I'm going to hand it over to you to come in with your thoughts, your insights, and let's take it from there.
Okay, I'm absolutely delighted to be here, and it's wonderful to be back. And who am I now? I really feel that I want to be a game changer, but for me, it's about conversations. So my mission in life is to really create authentic harmony between men and women, and we know that's not always true in our world. There's a lot of contention about gender equality, our rights to be paid the same amount. You know, we've been fighting for a lot of things for a long time. And so I really thought about how do we change the conversation and how do we change the game? Now, is life a game? Some people won't think it is. Um, I believe it is. It's a game that we're playing and we have been playing for centuries. But over the last 100 years, women have been fighting in the game. And maybe we don't need to fight. Maybe we need to just understand the magic of who we are and how we relate to each other. And sometimes it's going to be all women, sometimes it's going to be all men, sometimes it's going to be men and women. But, you know, half of the world is female, very basic facts. And dare I say, we don't have joint custody. And I believe that we need joint custody. And I know that men might be thinking, well, yeah, but you know, women stay home and have the babies, and they're the mothers of our future generations. Yes, that's true, but we're also incredibly entrepreneurial, intelligent, creative human beings who do multitask. And yes, we need a balance in life, but women are at the forefront of changing our economies, and yet we're still not really given those kind of rights. So rather than looking at equality and rights, I want to look at harmony and create the conversation game that includes all that we are as women and all that men are when they're being wise. And you might
It's
challenge me as to
interesting.
what that means.
Yeah, but it's interesting you're saying that. I was brought up to respect my father. I was brought up to respect the men in my life. They were the ones that the game changers. They were the ones that had the right to say yes or no. So challenging them was no easy feat. So listening to you saying, well, actually, you have equal play on this playing field. I actually would remember, my dad almost backhanding me for actually speaking back as opposed to being quiet and doing as I'm told. So, it's those experiences that we've had as children and we've grown up and we've passed those on down generation after generation, and particularly more so, women have had to fight to get to the board and be in corporate world. But then, when we're there, have we made a difference? Has that difference happened?
Well, this is one of the things is that if you look at the data, and we know that, many people like to look at the data and men do, the numbers still tell us that women are not equal numbers at CEO level, at corporate levels, and yet huge number of the workforces are female. So let's try and get away from that because it's still a male game. And what I'm proposing is that we create a harmony game. So we create a joint custody harmony game in which to play. So there's a male part of it and a female part of it, but it's not overlapping. It's complementary and it's aligned, and we can move across both sides with awareness. And I think women have learned, especially over the last decades that I've been around, we've learned to navigate the business world, and there's lots of data out there that says that if you evaluate management skills, women are actually much better at it than men. But that doesn't mean to say that we've got equal playing out there. So what I've been studying is, what's happening in terms of post-pandemic. We had this great pause. We had to stop and do things differently. And interesting enough, in lockdown, we got this whole idea of working from home. Hey, that's where women are so used to being. So, if you look at the science, and we know that a lot of people don't want to stay at work. A lot of women are leaving corporate life. A lot of women are becoming entrepreneurs. So the whole economic landscape is shifting. And I think, personally, in my studies, that men are very fearful about this. They're not quite sure what's going on. So I've been engaged in something called positive masculinity. And what's interesting about this is that it actually makes men feel better. And there were a lot of wise men. So when I say wise men, I just mean men who are aware enough to say, I advocate for women and actually I want to work with them. I want to be myself. So this is not about women being men or men being women. It's actually looking at our talents and traits on a new pitch. And that is really what is exciting because we've had an awful lot of toxic information. Said that 1 in 3 women have been sexually or physically abused. And talking to women, I think it's probably higher than that. But that's a very challenging subject to talk to men about who haven't actually been the perpetrators, but feel, oh my gosh, is that a dig at me? And also, we know that men and women are different. So we've got a bit of a journey to go here. But what's interesting, if you look at games, so let's look at games such as football, and I've got engaged with an interesting project that FIFA, who I'm sure most people know, FIFA have a red card campaign. So you know what the red card is on the pitch. The red card says stop, off, you're gone. Even if you're David Beckham, I'm sorry, you're out. So they have a campaign which is the red card to violence. So it is aimed primarily at Africa at the moment, but it's spreading across the world. And what's interesting is the Secretary General of FIFA is a woman from Senegal who has put this in motion. What a surprise. And also, wise men there are saying, yes, we need to change this, but it's a deep cultural change. So the game is changing, and women's football is actually now front of the news because it's so successful, means it's a very
I was Oh, hello. We've got to congratulate the girls, especially England for winning. I'm just going to put it
yeah.
out there. Okay.
I watched England win in July of this year, the Euro
Yeah.
Cup,
Yeah.
and the
We watched
American,
the Euros.
yeah, and also that they is now a very wealthy sport. So this is the other side of it. That sport isn't just the fun of going to see the sport and winning. It's an extremely wealthy field, so to speak. And I do believe, and I won't say this absolutely, but I think the women are starting to get pay parity as they become more famous winning leagues. So obviously, winning teams make more money, but the winning female teams are now starting to win money as well and pay parity. But you've still got quite a few men who will, and I've heard this, oh, I wouldn't watch female football. Gosh, it's a male game. um, I actually played mixed football many, many years ago, not officially, but with a whole crowd of people back in the 70s. And it's a fun game and it has rules, and women and men play the same rules. But I know women have a different attitude to the way they act and how they win. So you tend to find that when men win, the victors are very victorious, and the losers kind of skulk off. But when women win, although they're very victorious on the pitch, they immediately go and hug all the other people on the other team. And that there's much more sort of celebration of life, even in the winning situation. So I look at this and I think, well, also, why have these things been introduced to me in the last short while? Who I am is a conversationalist. So I study how different types and different archetypes converse. And you can apply this to even how they play on the football pitch. So, I suspect that the strikers need a lot more testosterone and masculine energy, whereas maybe the midfield are more about relationships and observing where they're going to kick the ball to. And this is kicking the ball football, not American soccer. I mean, there's a difference. But anyway, the whole thing is that playing football is also an international language. I had the privilege of being in Kenya one time on a mountain trip, and the Kenyan natives and the white boys who were on our trip, they started playing football. None of them could speak the other's language, but they played with such dexterity and great sort of competitive energy. It was wonderful to watch. And I kind of thought, gosh, that's interesting. How come everybody knows how to play football?
Very,
And
very true, isn't it? Because
yeah.
you don't expect that, but it isn't a universal international language. And I just want to kind of home in to the "Who are we" section of this now, because who are we and where is this going? Who are we?
So I think who we are, or who I am is a woman who has a vision of a world that can be much more harmonious. And I want to be the instrument of bringing people together in spaces where they can play the game. So whether that's talking around the kitchen table, or it's the boardroom table, or it's on the pitch, it happens to be all women or all young people or a mixture of people. And it's not fraught with difficult conversations about marginalized things that are taking us off the pitch, and we're getting into fights. And I think who we are is, as women, if I could be collective, is that we are half of the world. We're very empowering people. We do produce the generations ahead. That's where babies come from. And we're different types of mothers, and we need fathers, and we need to. I think we are the instruments have changed with men, and I think this is a very serious part of it. There's a lot of evidence that men can be violent, they can be the predators, and also that they're very scared. There's a lot of suicide in men. There's a lot of mental stress, obviously women as well. But how can we change that? So I think we are change makers. We are able to be flexible and observe that if things aren't going the right way, maybe we don't just do things right, we do the right things. And the right thing is
Perfect.
to create a world of love and harmony.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. This is Club 10M Plus's exciting new podcast that's here for you. We are all about stories, new developments, and learning about individuals. Our hope is that you will join us every week to hear about our distinguished guests. We hope to inspire you, bring you laughter, and make you reflect. Our guests come from all walks of life, and primarily they want to share their stories. Not sure about you, but I love a good story. So Club 10M Plus have devoted their time to creating these podcasts, to sharing great ideas and stories, and much more. So tune in every week to make sure that you don't miss out. It could be you next week. Want to know more? We want to hear your stories. So sign up and be our next guest.